I didn't realize it when I signed up for this trip, but it is exactly what I needed. A week away with the boys, where for once, I'm not the skipper. This time, I'm heading out on my mate Michael's boat to a legendary chain of islands off Western Australia, the Abrolhos. The mission is simple: spearfish, dive for crayfish, and live only on what we can catch. On the eve of the departure, we set our intentions for the trip. Mine was a little twisted. I want to see a tiger shark. I want to feel that fear. It's in those moments when your heart races and your breath catches that you feel most alive. But as the days unfolded, we discovered something we hadn't expected. Out here in these waters, it wasn't the shark that made us feel alive, but it was the reminder of just how fragile even the ocean's greatest predators can be. I am on Amazon. This is my mate Michael's boat, and I am on a guy's spearfishing trip. Spearfishing is by far the best. I'm not going to use the word sustainable because I think any fishing is not sustainable. But at least you're not using nets. You're not out there with your fishing lines getting caught in the reef. It's not getting wrapped in plastic at the market if you're going to eat fish. That, of course, catching your own and eating what you yourself catch is definitely the way to do it. So I am going to have some fun on this trip, my guys' fishing trip. And if you are not keen to see said fishing happening, then skip this video, and that's okay. Just skip along. We'll see you next week. I'm here at the Abrolhos Islands in a really special place called Shipwreck Reef. And it's called Shipwreck Reef because some pretty tumultuous shipwrecks happened here back in the day. The Zeke and the Batavia wrecks. And they really show the very worst in humanity. One of them in particular, they shipwrecked, and then the captain and some of his first mates had to build another boat and went all the way to Java, and then they actually came back later with a ship that they built. But in the meantime, one of the crew members and his gang of thugs actually went around and murdered literally all of the other crew members, hundreds of people supposedly, and it was absolutely terrible what had happened here in these islands. So there's a bit of just eerie history here to Abrolhos, honestly. I'm not going to tell the whole story of those, but if you like history, if you like shipwrecks, I really recommend looking up these two wrecks, the Zeke and the Batavia of Abrolhos Islands, because it's worth a quick read just to kind of see just how damned humans can be at times. Our key for the dinghy broke. So our entire isolator switch, that's what this is called, for the boat, broke. We tried to fix it for hours and hours today. And so Michael looked up on the YouTube.
I stopped it. I did something.
And he has hot wired it. I feel like he should never learn how to hot wire things. It's a bad moment, but that's okay.
Right.
All right, let's see it.
Let's see it. So, I got starter ignition. Let's put those two together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going out for another big day of spearing. Yesterday was my first time in so many years, probably like 6 years, that I have speared a fish. Yeah, it's gonna be a beautiful day with the boys. Here we go. Shadows darted beneath us, quickly and powerful. Just enough of a glimpse for Michael to shout, "Spanish mackerel!" I'm used to filming reef life, the big and the small, but these giants of the open water, they don't always show themselves. The water was murky. I saw Michael slip below the surface, so I followed. Through the haze, a huge shadow appeared. Michael lining up for the shot. The spear flew. The fish bolted. Michael burst to the surface for his first breath as his reel screamed, the line tearing away into the deep. When it finally slowed, he hauled it up. Just 10 meters below us, I dove, drove in a second spear, and still it ran again. This was no ordinary catch. Our mate Nick went down, adding a third shot before the beast finally gave way. When it surfaced at our feet, I was stunned. This Spanish mackerel was enormous, far bigger than I had ever imagined. We cheered like kids, our voices echoing across the water. It was a mission just to haul it into the dinghy, but back on the boat, the prize was ours. One of the biggest things with fishing or with eating is just being mindful about what you're putting in your body, where it came from, how many ships and planes did it have to go on for it to be consumed by you, and just to be mindful about those things. That's probably the biggest reason why I am vegetarian. Hey guys, I wanted to stop in real quick and thank today's sponsor of the video, and that's BetterHelp. Going into this all guys trip, I realized that I had not been on an all guys trip and had that energy in as long as I can remember. And after a couple of days, we talked about it as a group, and we all said the same thing, is that we were kind of craving this escape and to just be surrounded by our guy energy and see what that all meant, which was a beautiful thing. And it also came out that we believe that men don't always have good outlets and people to talk to about feelings and emotions and all those things. I don't know where this came from, but society at some point deemed that by men talking about their feelings, that that's a sign of weakness, which could not be farther from the truth. I think men that can handle their emotions and talk about things, that's a sign of strength. So quite the opposite. And yeah, it was a beautiful trip. I'm glad we did it. We really unpacked a lot of things. There's something that happens in this episode, and you'll see. And it took me a minute to realize whether or not I even wanted to include it in this episode. And I'll leave that at the end, but something a bit traumatic. And so I think it's always good for anybody and everybody to be able to talk to people, to talk to a professional about what's going on in their lives, to get an outside source just to maybe help put things into perspective. And for myself, that can be really hard to find professional help because I'm always traveling, I'm always on the move. So how could I have a therapist? Like when, where, how? And that's where BetterHelp comes into play. They are an online platform of therapists that you can schedule your meetups with them. And it's a beautiful thing because I can make it work around my life and my schedule and my time zones, which is great for me. Maybe I want therapy in the middle of the night. Who knows? Your therapist can give you advice, help you see things from new perspectives, all in an effort to just bring some positive change into your life. BetterHelp has 7,000 4.3 or above reviews, so you know it's a brand that you can trust. And for myself, it's been a massive impact in the way that I handle my emotions or just how I express and communicate with people. I've seen a difference in just the last 2 months that I've been doing it. So if you do want to give it a go ahead and look in the description below. You will see our URL with our tag Expedition Drenched in it. And if you do that, you're going to get 10% off your first month's therapy, and it does support the channel, which really does make it helps us keep these videos going and alive. With that said, let's get back to the movie, and thanks for listening, guys. Things don't always go to plan. The rudder on Amazon had snapped. The original weld finally gave in. So there we were, kicking back, scratching our heads over what to do next. And in true boys will be boys fashion, we came up with a brilliant idea. Why not entertain ourselves with the bronze whalers that had been circling us since we dropped anchor? We tied the head of our prize catch to a rope, and the madness began. Sharks darting, splashing, tugging at the bait, pure chaos. After a while, we let them have their fun and waited for the pack to disperse. That's when reality set back in. We had to remove the rudder before the ocean claimed it for good. Nick and I geared up, dropped below, and started unbolting her. But mid-task, I caught something in the corner of my eye. Over Nick's shoulder, sliding silently out of the blue, the unmistakable stripes of a tiger shark, drawn in by the commotion of the bronze whalers. At first, it was just a drive-by. I shot her to the surface, heart racing until it became clear she wasn't hunting, just curious, just majestic. I rallied the boys, most of whom had never seen a tiger in the wild. We slipped back in and spent 15 unforgettable minutes snorkeling alongside her. She was easily 5 times the size of the bronze whalers, yet carried herself with a calm, commanding grace. Tigers have that effect. their pattern, their power, their presence. I've always loved them. We climbed back aboard, buzzing, laughing like kids who had just cheated fate. And I wish I could say that the story ends there, but it doesn't. You'll have to wait till the end for the rest. I don't want to kill your vibe just yet. We're just heading out of the channel now. 40 nautical miles to go. Pulling a dinghy behind us, which is going to work as kind of a sea anchor, and we're just using that sound right there is our bow thrusters. So that's going to like try to keep us on track. Agent plan. Now we are in the dinghy being pulled behind, and we are acting as the rudder because sadly, probably as expected, our bow thrusters dropped a gear, burnt out in other words. So now I'm behind the boat, and if we want to steer one way, I just steer the rib, and we're kind of an acting rudder, just creating drag. So and Amazon is still engaged and going 13, 14 knots, and I'm just steering her from back here, which is pretty crazy, huh? And there it is, out of the water. Job well done. And man, trip didn't go as expected. We were supposed to like drive this beast back down with all the boys back into Fremantle down to Perth area, and now we need to hitch a ride about 5 hours south. But it's an adventure just the same. I'm glad we got her done. I'm so glad that we were in such a relatively close place that we could haul the boat out, or this would have been an absolute disaster. But yeah, I'll show you where the rudder broke. See, get a better look at that. It is sheared right off. Could be because we did hit a pot. So we did hit a cray pot, and that might have affected the rudder and made it snap. I'm not quite sure. Look at that. So we're missing a blade right here. All could have been from we went through this pot, this net that got jammed up in our gear. And yeah, look at that. Gonna need maybe a whole new one, huh? I want to take a quick moment and talk about something that happened in the filming of this episode that I've been kind of mulling over for a little while, whether or not I should even speak of it. As you can see, I'm actually back on Millennium. I'm back on the boats, and I just think that it would be disingenuous to put this episode out without telling you the truth. And I strive to do that, and this is more of an internal conversation, and pipe in if you'd like, and tell me how you're feeling about it. In this episode, you saw the beautiful tiger shark that we very much enjoyed, and for me, going into this trip with the guys, it was a guys only trip, which was beautiful, and I told the guys that I wanted to see a big tiger and feel a bit of fear. I love that feeling, the butterflies in your stomach and feeling like you got away with something almost. And that's why I love swimming and interacting with, frankly, things that can eat me. Not that they would. And when we saw the tiger underwater as we were fixing the rudder, and it came out, it was terrifying. No, it wasn't terrifying, but it shocked us. Like, I was in the middle of like handing wrenches and spanners, and then we saw the tiger approach from behind, and what an absolute glorious moment that was. Tigers, if you don't know, they're actually very chill shark. Compare it to the bronze whalers that you see in the episode that are like a little bit riled up. Tigers don't really get that way that often. They're really just more of a relaxing shark than anything, and their demeanor is as such. So we had this great interaction, and we all loved it, and it was most of the guys' first time seeing a tiger shark or any big shark that had potential to do some damage to them. And we saw this catamaran that was next to us, and the catamaran was parked there for a couple hours, and then they were, with their dinghy, they were driving around, and what I thought to be, they were fishing, and they had like a lure. We just saw this spray off the back, and then Michael pointed out, he's like, "No, mate, that's a shark." And I was like, "No, it's got to be a big fish or something." It wasn't. It was a shark, and we saw them pull up the shark on the back of their swim step. I chose not to film it. Maybe I kind of wish I had now. And then they put a towel over it, and the whole time I was like, they caught a bronzy. Well, later on they came onto the boat because they knew that the rudder was broken, and they were being, just old mates. They were being friendly. And then somebody asked them about the shark, and that's when they said that they had caught a tiger. That's right. The tiger that we just all enjoyed and had a beautiful interaction with it was dead. The same shark. They drug it behind their boat to drown it because they can't breathe if you do that. And they apparently wanted it because their kid wanted the jaws on his wall. And the story doesn't stop there. The individual actually owns some of the biggest restaurants in Fremantle, Western Australia, on the waterfront, and they're fish restaurants, fish and chip shops. In other words, this individual makes a living from the ocean. And from what I saw, it felt as if he didn't respect the ocean at all. Which takes me into the conversation of, okay, as you guys might know, I've been a vegetarian for a long time, and I broke from that to, be one of the boys, win and roam, do a bit of spearfishing, and I liked it. I've been practicing my free diving lately, and I felt really good that I could dive down, stay down there, and I'm a competitive person. I'm not going to pretend I didn't enjoy it. But then it asks the question, well, why are you so upset about that tiger? Why is this tiger's life so valuable and important to you instead of the Spanish mackerel you guys caught, or any of the fish you caught for that matter? Why do we appreciate a horse more than a cow or a pig? Like, why? And that's, the age-old question about vegetarianism. No doubt that I might get burnt in the comments, and that's fine. About, people love poking at it. And anytime that you break from your ideals and things like that, people like to, I call it whataboutism. Well, what about this? What about that? Because none of us are perfect. We're just trying to live our lives. But, yeah, I looked up, and fishing for sharks, tiger sharks, is completely legal because they're not considered to be endangered. And I would say that it was done in an inhumane way, which is, you're not supposed to do it in an inhumane way. If you're watching this, from me to you, it's just me as a friend. I talk to you often, every week sometimes. Leave the shark friends alone, please. Yeah, do Nate a solid and do that for me. I would really greatly appreciate that. So that's that. That's my request from me to you and to everybody, is to, please save our sharks, save our oceans. Thank you.